This is the presentations for our group website. So let's get onto it. So what I'm going through today is the personas and the coding for the level 1 to 3. But for the coding, we only talking about the mostly about the back end coding and just a little bit about the front end. So before we go more into it, let's see our website, what it's gonna look like. So here, this is our city state rank, and we can click here to get back to the homepage, or you can click the logo here to go back to the homepage. So this is our homepage. We're showing you that some of the informations and the main point of our website. And this is the data that within our website, which is we have about 707,000 data for the cities, and 40,000, about 40,000 for country, and 11,178 for populations. And for the years, we have the years from 1750 until 2015 within years, which is 266 years. And this is our missions and the persona that we wish to reach. And here are some of our functions in our website. So let's see how it's work. So for the country populations and temperature data, do you want to compare, for example, 2 different years? So I want to compare from 2010 until 2011. And let's see, I want to compare Benin, which is the country, and I want to sorting it from temperature ascending, and I want a raw value. So let's see. So here, the here it's showing that the 2 years and the change within that year from which of the populations and the temperature. Let's try one more, but this time we will try the city and the state. Let's see. So I have to select a country. I want to have, let's say, Australia. So Austria. I'm sorry, it's Austria. So this country doesn't have state. So I just only can choose cities here and for the start year. But I don't know what like in this, what is the min and the max year is. So there's some basic information that we can view here. Let's see. So 1750 until 2013. Okay, so the min year is 1750 and the max year is 2013. Let's say I want to my start year is 2010 until 2013. I want my table to output like the minimum temperatures of Austria cities from 2010 to 2013. I want the raw value of it, and this might take a moment. So here, this is the table of the city in the country that we selected. So let's go back to our presentations. We can have through the personas and some of our users. She is a one of our users. So let's go to the coding. For the back end, this is the coding for our personas. And to establish the database connections um, and create statement of execute SQL queries, it's have been done here, which we can connect to our database. So let's fetching the data for each persona, Krita, Saras, and Elena, executing the SQL query, retrieving their names, image, file path, descriptions, and needs from the persona table, joined with the persona info tables. Additional attributes such as pain points and goals are fetched using separate method, get attribute value, and demonstrating a good attribute abstractions and method reused. So for the processing result, for each result set checks if data is present using if result next, and then retrieve the store's various data points such as background needs, pain points, and goals. So construct the HTML contain for each individual incorporating this data along with profile image. For HTML constructions, the dynamically build HTML using string builders, adding div elements with classes for styling image for visible representations and the context of various HTML tags. And we have this is for the potential improvements, maybe for reduced code duplications. Much of the code are repetitive for fetching the displaying the data of each individual. This could be refactors into the method that takes the name of the persona as the parameters and handles the fetchings of HTML generation, thus drawing and yeah, up the code, drawing up the code. And this is the back end for the members. So this we can see that they have the same concept of the connections with the JDBC to the database, so we can execute the SQL queries. To do our members, we can firstly the code initialize the string of pursues with HTML content. It start with the structure of displaying the within the web page. The database query, this part, is the SQL query is designed to fetch the SID, presumably student ID or a member ID, and name of each member from member database table. The database connections and the query executions. The connections of establishment, a connections of database is established using the driver management dot get connections with the connection string presumably stored in the JDBC connection database. The statement creations of and executions and statement is created from the connections. A timeout 30 seconds is set and the SQL query is executed. The result of processing, which is the result set objects result, is iterate to process each member retrieving from the database. Error handling. SQL exceptions are caught and handling printing the stack trace dynamics HTML content creations inside the loop of each member ID and name of fetch from the result set and appending into the HTML content dynamically and creating individual div elements of each members. The HTML content is finalized with closing tags and then it's set to be displayed in the web context, assuming this is part of web server response. Utility functions attribute value retrieval for the get build functions. So the purpose of this function is retrieve the specific attribute value for the persona from the database based on the person's name type attribute. The prepare statement is its issues to prepare statement to safely query the database with the parameters, the persona names, attribute type, the functions of return attribute value found, otherwise it's returned to empty string. Let's go to the min-max backend of the database of the backend. So the resource of the first queries of retrieve the minimum and maximum years of recorded in the global yearly temp database table. This table is likely represents the range of year for which temperatures is available. Result next is checked if there is at least one row of database return. If so, it extract the minimum and the maximum years from the result stored them in min year temp and max year temp, respectively. If no data return, both variable are set to 0 as default error value. Query for the population data. A similar approach is used to fetch minimum and maximum year from the population data tables. This year represent the range which population data is available. It's used, same statement object executed query processes and result similar to min year pop and max year pop. And let's move to the level 2A. So in this page, we focus on the gift temperatures and populations change of country over the period of time. User has an options to view change raw population value and global statistic of populations and temperatures by range of years, or a user can view the figures and in ascendings. This is an example of the output of Italy populations and temp data from 1980 to 2000, along with the change between these years. To produce the data, we firstly require input of the attribute. Firstly, the regions. Our region has two models, country specific and the world mod. We put this option inside drop-down menu, going with this mod as another required drop-down menu. If the user wish to see the database data by country, they need to choose viewing change and percentage value. If the user is wish to reveal the global statistic, the author will the other descendings and by the temp populations. So let's go to the code. After the user give the information, did input backend by IA from form params method, which part of HTTP request context. It extract the parameters from the form submissions that hold the data inputs from HTML inform. This by parameters that code extract the whole of request context. Next is the parameter space of the print tables. First, we check if the user selected the region will leave the message introducing our data set that give instruct for user to start giving input. When user submit, we see the regions, country, mode, then the arguments will pass the method output temp and output populations data. If the regions were, then it's past the output word data, word table. In this method output table, we connected The database by JDBC, we store result gave by the queries into objects array list. If the size of the object enough for 2, we use each loop to print the store that the object. For readabilities, we use string format to comma the numeric variable. Here are the queries part. Firstly, we created an empty whole-time data objects, then created connections with database using the driver manager. Then we create the statement objects, and it will execute our written queries if the statistic value is proportional. We will let the first query execute. It's that retrieving country years average population temp. We subtract the average temp of the end year and the first year within the a country, then divide it to first year to get the change value, then the converse percentage by multiple with 100. So let's go to the cookie part. To display the different set data, we use cookies to make the members user previous informations. Heuristic and design patterns. For overall, this page will help users like Sarah that gathers our basic information data with the help of cookies method with principal recognitions rather than recall. Sarah can general view the database from the different memorize it. Let's go to 2B. So the requirements allow all users to see the database country and set up the year range, and the improvement on personas to create error message announce if user input is invalid. We will. This is some of the video that demonstrate how to use our website. So for this is the basic requirements, allow user to choose start years and end year to set up the min and max to the years in our system, allow user country, city, state matters of capitals in. And this is the output of the demonstrations. For sections 2, which is the level 3A. For the requirement 3A, we create 3 sections of the satisfy 3 different purpose of requirement. It may look similar, but it's content different user input. And the first sections, we created the basics purpose, allow user to choose start years. We set up the min, max, and the max dual to the year range. In our system, we allow user to type in the country, cities, or state, user right, and demonstrations for so for this part, we create the section of satisfy the different purpose requirement. It's allow user to choose start years, end years, min max, dual. We allow user to type the countries. We create the case input. For inputs, multiple case, set up the min for length limit arrow. We set up the future conditions, allow user to set up temperature range, allow user to set up population range. And this is the video of demonstrate. We improve that set up arrow message, set up the checks location regions, improve the length input, and the create of FAQ. Thank you for listening to this presentations. I hope our website will help you with maybe your schoolwork or your work. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.